Hi, my name's Glenn Hasselman. Just making this video for the free accounting software users to wish you a happy new year and to give you some news about what's happening with the software and new features of the software. So I've just released a new version for the 2022 financial year, and in that version I've updated the 2022 tax tables. The prior version of the software will give you an error message if you try to put payslips in there after 1st of July, or it'll just tell you that it can't calculate the tax. It's quite important to get it right if you consider that if you don't comply with your pay-as-you-go withholding obligations, the salary is not tax deductible, so it's quite a serious thing. So anyway, just get to the website and download the software. In fact, I do want to show you how to do that, although it's probably pretty obvious. I just want to cover off some points there. So basically you go to our website and you click desktop software download now. You choose the version Windows, Mac, Linux that you need, and you click the download link. So it'll take a bit of time to download. And what I want to talk through is it gives you a bunch of warnings. It is a signed executable file, so it does say who the publisher is. The Mac one doesn't, but anyway, you need to save that somewhere to your computer and then run it from that saved location to get around that. One day I'll figure out how to sign the Mac executable. So it gives you a bunch of warnings. And this does throw people, so I just want to quickly explain that. It says it can harm your device, so you just got to click something. There's an option to go keep, gives you more information. It does tell you who the publisher is, but the thing is that until the software gets downloaded a number of times, I don't know how many that is, then they're going to still provide these warnings. So you just got to go more and keep anyway. Once you've done that, you can click open file, and it's still going to give you another warning. So you can click more info and then run anyway. Then you click to allow it to install and install. Now, I've already got the software installed, so just installing it over the top of the existing software, and that's fine. Once you've installed it, you can just double click on it and start it up as per normal. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about are these 2021 tax return forms. So you could actually use free accounting software to lodge your tax return, and I'll just give you a quick look at that. A lot of tax agents use it to lodge tax returns for their clients. So I've got 3 businesses listed here. One of the businesses is actually listed twice, for the 2021 financial year and the 2022 financial year. So the tax returns are in the local file rather than the BASOF hosted file. So this business, if you're using BASOF hosted files, then you need to actually create a local file if you want to use the tax return. So the reason for that is that there's just no point of us storing tax returns on our server. So anyway, I'll just quickly show you how to do a tax return. Or how to, in a way. So you go into the business, and under reports and lodgements there's an option for tax return. If you are a business owner, you cannot lodge your individual tax return using this software. You have to go to MyGov. If you're a tax agent, yes, you can use it for the individual tax return. I'll just click on company tax return. You just double click on it to open it up, fill it in and save. The actual software side of this is really simple. You just fill in the form, get to the bottom, select your machine credential now, and then put in your machine credential password and click lodge. The difficulty will be in filling in this form and getting everything right, as well as the error messages that come back. Complicated, so if you're a tax agent, you get used to those messages pretty quick, but for a business owner who's just doing one tax return once a year, it's going to get confusing, and keep that in mind. And I don't want to be doing software support, because it ends up being me doing your tax return for you, which is a separate service that I can provide. So yeah, the software side of it is simple. Just fill in the form and select your machine credential and lodge. One thing that does confuse people though is, say for example, you have to attach a schedule. So here we have the company tax return and status created, but we've got a bunch of schedules we can attach. If you go into one, it actually creates it straight away. So if you go back to the list, you'll see that it's already attached a schedule. If you didn't intend to attach that schedule, you need to go into it and click this button at the bottom that says delete this schedule. Okay, so that covers off tax returns. Alright, some new videos. So there are some videos to help you with year end, new ones. One is under the payroll called year end processing, and that tells you how to finalize your payroll so that your employee can log into their MyGov and see it there as tax ready. There's another video on a common problem which can happen if you switched payroll software halfway through the year. You might, your employee might have duplicate income statements. These things used to be called group certificates, then payment summaries. Now they're called income statements. So if there's duplicates, hopefully that won't happen to you. But if it does, there's a video on how to fix that. If you scroll down a bit, there's a video on how to open a new year. So if you're using a Basel hosted file, it's quite simple. But if you're using a local file, it's still simple, but an extra step. So that video explains how to do that. And a video here about how to switch computers. So I think maybe a lot of people bought computers recently to get the tax deduction, because I got a lot of inquiries about that. So there's this video here, and in the new version it is a bit easier to switch computers. Yeah. Okay. All right. The new backup functions. So under this F menu here, there's this option to save a backup file. That's not new, it's been there all the time, but do save backups because it's important, and save it to a separate computer or USB or something like that, so that if your hard drive or computer dies, you still have a copy of it. It's also important to back up your FAS identity file. This is like the keys to your car. You can't drive it without that. So make sure you have a backup of the FAS identity file. You don't need to do it every time unless you change your password or something. But yeah, make sure that is a new feature there. It was a little bit more difficult to back up your FAS identity before. And that is demonstrated in the video about switching computers. So if you want to see the demo of how to do that, then that's in that video, although it is really simple. Okay. Single Touch Payroll 2. So you might have seen some information from the ATO about Single Touch Payroll Phase 2 coming in. It's not required until 1 January, and it's not in this new version of free accounting software. It will be in a version that I release in September. it's not just a simple software upgrade. You have to add some extra information, like to classify gross pay into more finer details, as well as more details about the employees and what tax scale you've chosen and why. So probably not an ideal time to try to implement it around financial year end in one big hit. It'll be better to space it out over a few months, starting September. Alright, fees. So currently or previously, free accounting software, we've had a free local file version, which is designed for micro business, so 0 to 4 employees, and paid BASOF hosted version, which is designed. It's not just about it being online or hosted. It's got different features there. So what's happening is there are a real lot of, like, hundreds of businesses who are using the free local file version, and this sort of does sort of chew up resources and support and things like that. So I'm introducing fees for these businesses, and hopefully these fees will help a lot, and they're quite trivial. Like if you've got 5 employees, it's $100 per annum. So I think if you've got 5 employees, you could well afford that. But it will help me a lot in terms of improving the software and improving the support. So actually, I just want to show how to set that up. So basically, these fees are going to they kick in immediately, but the software will let you go through July without paying them, but in August it's going to stop you. So please set it up before August, so that so there's not an interruption. If you're not trying on an actual payday to sort this out. So to set it up, you just open your business, and then under the setup, there's a thing called license fee (large business). You just go into there, and then fill in the details. They should already be pre-populated. Select the level that applies. There's businesses with a lot of employees using this free local file version, but I really think that if you've got more than 50 employees, you should upgrade you shouldn't even use it at all. You should upgrade to the BASOF hosted version. But anyway, select the level that applies and click continue to payment. Make the payment, and then you can click this link to download your invoice. There is also a link to the tax invoice on the My Business Details page. And so the main point there is, please set that up before 1st of August so that there's no interruption. Okay, last thing I want to cover off is identity verification. This is an area where free accounting software has been years ahead of the competition. I think we've implemented Australia Post Digital ID in 2018. Australia Post Digital ID is a very strong level of identity verification, and there's 2 trusted digital identity framework providers. One is the MyGov thing, but as software providers we can't use that. That's just for government. So we're using the Australia Post Digital ID. There is a consultation paper the ATO has recently released, which is why I'm talking about this now. And they've and I've put in a comment on, or a submission related to this consultation paper. Basically, they're saying that I think they're probably off the view that a lot of tax agents are not adequately verifying their clients' identities, and I would agree with that. I think that there's a lot of online accounting services, and there is not a lot of software to support identity verification. And I think free accounting software is probably the only accounting software to implement Australia Post Digital ID. So, you have to think, well, how are they providing these online accounting services without identity verification tools? So I think we're quite advanced on that. I think that it's also something that shouldn't just be about the accountant verifying the client, but I think the client also needs to verify the accountant, because you're also dealing with your accountant online. So how do you know that they're legit? So the software supports that, has since 2018. If you go to, for example, the messages page, I've got 2 users in this file, which is in fact both me. This one is the one where I have verified my identity, and it says bracket identity verified, and this is the one where I haven't verified my identity. And so we've got this messages page here. You can send secure messages. It's all encrypted. Got declarations that you can fill in and sign. So you need not just identity verification, but you need electronic signatures as well. So the software's got that. It's a useful feature for tax agents, and I hope I've just started some discussions with the ATO since they've released the consultation paper, and I'll hope to communicate with you guys more about that when I do the next release for single touch payroll. Okay, that's all I wanted to cover. I hope the video has been useful. Happy New Year, and thanks for watching.